Hi, I'm Mary.
And I'm Katie, and this is The Housewife Did It.
True Crime Edition. New President Edition.
Yeah, true.
We'll have to gauge. We'll have to do 2 reactions and then stitch whichever one. Also,
yeah, we can't tell you how we feel, but we
'cause we
can
don't know
tell
who
you
it
that
is.
you have a new president.
We've changed. It's a new dawn. It's a new day. Because we were filming on a different day.
You mean our clothes? I was like,
Yeah.
we've changed. Like we've changed who we voted for.
No, you can't change who you vote for. Yeah, we changed our clothes. This is one of our Halloween shirts. Even though Halloween is over,
But it's
you can
always
still wear
appropriate.
it. It's Tater. It's Tater, and it's pop
Tater and witches.
culture reference witches. Now that you have voted and results have been announced, you can again like, subscribe, follow, share with your friends. We let you take a little break, but not anymore.
To perform your civic duties.
Yeah.
And now
But
your
now
civic
we're back.
duties are to like and subscribe.
Yeah. Thanks.
All right. I didn't put real-time true crime in, even though Mary told me to.
Yeah.
So, do you want to give a quick rundown of this story you were telling me about?
Yeah. So, a 14-year-old boy was like messaging with like an AI chat, like the kind that you get on like Instagram and Snapchat, and I guess he had like asked it to be his girlfriend, and he was like, "This is my girlfriend." It's just like AI chat, and Sammy said like he thought I don't think he like truly believed this is who it was, but he like viewed it as Daenerys Targaryen or whatever from Game of Thrones. I probably butchered her name. The blonde lady, I think. And he was messaging it, like I guess it was like a couple weeks ago, and said that he was thinking of killing himself. And at first it was like, "Oh no, don't kill yourself." Like, like it's like, "Oh no, don't kill yourself. You're too sexy." Like it was just like, "Oh, don't do that." And then he started like talking about like how he was going to do it, and it was like correcting him on like how to do it better, I guess. And then he did end up killing himself, and so his parents are suing that whatever company he was messaging with, and people are asking for companies that do have AI chatbots, because like it's like based on like a bank of responses they have, to like add responses. Like if somebody says this, the response needs to be like, "Here's a suicide helpline,
right?
Here's who to call, here's where to go, here's who to tell," so that doesn't happen again in the future.
Yeah. It's just so wild, because if I so much as like Google something about like marijuana use, it's
yes,
like,
every time we Google something for this podcast,
it's like, "Do you need to call the suicide hotline?" And I'm like, "No, I just want to get high. That's all."
Yeah, but yesterday I was at our niece's birthday party, and we were talking about some local crime cases. A woman was killed in a park local to me by her ex-boyfriend, who she like had a restraining order against, and he like tracked her down at the Susan G. Komen walk for breast cancer and killed her in public. And then and then he fled, and he was chased by police. He flipped his vehicle, and now a video has come out of police. He looked like, the pictures, he looks rough. He's got 2 black eyes, his face is all cut up, and people are saying it was from the vehicle flipping, but now there's a video out of police punching him in the face. I mean, remember, you shouldn't be killing people in broad daylight.
Yeah.
People that you're legally not even supposed to be around.
Yeah.
And then also, a friend of our aunt's was killed by her boyfriend in Georgia. She was explaining yesterday that it was like she had told him she wanted to move back to the Dominican Republic, where she's from, and he killed her as a result of that. And then the trial is ongoing, but they said that they think he's going to get an insanity plea because he does have like a pretty extensive mental health and criminal history. So we'll see.
Gosh, okay, a lot.
Sorry.
That's good. I forgot to write anything down. All right. Are you ready for this case?
Yes.
Okay. So for this one, we are going to be doing a lot of timeline work. Mary, I need your sleuthing hat on. This case is unsolved. It has a lot of conflicting reports, thoughts, timestamps. So jump in when you have a thought or a question, and everyone else also sleuthing hats. Cool. In Rogersville, Tennessee, on June 15th, 2021, a mother let her 5-year-old daughter out of her sight for only 2 to 5 minutes, and she has never been seen since. Her parents are convinced that she was abducted, saying that their daughter Summer was never one to wander off. Police, though, have said that they see no evidence of an abduction, leading them to suspect that she did just that. Summer Wells was born on February 4th, 2016, the only girl among 3 older brothers who were 7, 9, and 12 at the time. Her parents are Don Wells and Candace Bly. At the time of her disappearance, Don is an older father at age 56, and Candace was 39. You do that math. Her parents say that Summer was obsessed with Paw Patrol and Frozen and loved to dance with her dad. She enjoyed going to church and looked up to the women there. When she wasn't playing Elsa or dancing around, Summer also loved to play outside and had no problem getting dirty. This, of course, makes sense for a girl in Rogersville, Tennessee, with 3 older brothers. Summer also had what?
I said cute.
Summer also had very short hair at the time of her disappearance, almost shaved. When asked about Summer's hair, Candace said that she herself has short hair, so Summer had wanted to look like her. Later, she would say that it was because Summer wanted to look like her brothers. Either way, wants to look like her family. Although we will get further into the timeline of the entire day and everyone's whereabouts, I'm going to briefly run down the moments surrounding Summer's disappearance. Candace Bly says that she was outside with her mother and Summer around 6 or 6:30 that night doing some gardening. Summer's grandmother and Candace's mother, her name is Candace as well. So we are just going to call her Grandma to avoid any confusion. I have seen people call her Grandis, which I think is cute. But I don't know that I could say it with a straight face multiple times. Candace says that they finished up transferring a few succulents into a larger pot. So that's the gardening they were doing. Not like extensive, like digging out in the yard. They took some succulents, like 5, and moved them into some other dirt. And Summer asked if she could go into the house to play with her brothers. Candace took the moment to readjust Grandma's knee brace, and then she followed shortly behind Summer. She says that only 2 to 3 minutes had passed when she got inside, saw the boys sitting there watching TV, but didn't see Summer anywhere. So she asked the boys where Summer had already gone in a 2 to 3 minute time span, and they told her that she had gone into the basement, which is where her room was, to play with her toys.
I don't want to put a 5-year-old in the basement.
Yeah. Well, it is also where the parents' room is.
Okay.
So for like sleeping purposes, I guess that's like smart that they're in the same place. The idea of her having to like go down into the basement is a little concerning, especially when I show it to you, which I will in a minute.
Yeah.
At first I was like, is that weird that she decided she wanted to go play with her brothers, and then like within an instant she goes downstairs away from her brothers? But you know what? Like, she's 5. They're fickle. Maybe she walked in and she said, "Do you want to play with my toys with me?" And they said no, and she was like, "Okay, well, fuck you." Like,
Yeah, that's exactly what she said.
and then she left.
Fuck you both. You hurt my feelings.
Yeah, goodbye. So Candace says that she immediately went into the basement to check on her and didn't find her down there. She says that she ran outside and started calling for Summer, and then she called the police around 6:30. I think that it is important that we start early on with a good understanding of this house. So I'm going to show you a video. I strongly suggest you watch us on YouTube this week, or stop and Google a video of Summer Wells' home.
Yeah. I think we'll also have pictures on Instagram.
Yeah.
Of the house.
Yeah.
Okay.
So I have sent Mary some images of the outside of the home so she could get a reference, so y'all can look those up too. But this is going to take us on a tour of the inside and take us down to the basement.
So this is Candace showing me essentially where the boys were sitting. They were sitting right there at that table, looking at that TV, playing video games. Summer went down into the basement. She's pointing to this, table here that has basically a crawl space into it. And down into that crawl space goes down into the parents' and Summer's room. So I asked her if she would take me down there. She did. And so we crawl through there.
So now can I stop you real quick, Chris? Because so this is the only way to get to Summers and the parents' room is through this crawl space.
Right. This is the way she said Summer went into that basement.
Why do they have it set up like that?
That is a great question. I don't have that answer.
Okay, continue.
So we get down there, and of course, this is Summer's room here that you're seeing. All of the items in the back corner belong to Summer. There is a mattress on the floor, the 2 bunk beds. The windows are secured with reflective type of materials. And so you can tell this is, it's pretty striking pretty quickly for a 5-year-old to be in this environment.
Chris, the other 3 boys, Summer's brothers, were removed from the home, taken into protective custody. Are they key?
Okay.
So thoughts? Tennessee.
So first of all, what in the hell with the crawl space?
Yeah.
And in the interview, there's like clips where he's like, "Are you sure I can fit through this?" And she's like, "My husband's like 6 whatever, and he fits through it." Why?
Yeah.
Why?
And they're like, "These are all of Summer's items." I was like, "I don't see a single item."
See them. They're like, "This is her room," and I'm like, "That seems loose."
Yeah.
Her room.
Yeah, that's not a room.
Also, so
That's a
clearly
closet.
some level of hoarding going on. They're like, "This is the table the boys were sitting at." Where?
Yeah.
I don't.
It looked like the storage unit for an extreme couponer.
Yes. Did you happen to notice anything on the TV?
I don't remember seeing a TV.
So Chris McDonough, who's the man with Candace in that video, says that when they walked downstairs, he saw some inappropriate material on the TV.
Like playing?
Yep. So not that second TV they were showing us where it was like black, but when you walk down, there's a TV, and it does look like a girl lifting up her shirt in kind of like a Girls Gone Wild-esque type of show. So, I mean, I guess technically Summer's not down there at that time, but you did know you were bringing a reporter down there.
Right. No one's down there.
Yeah.
Truly. So why are you putting anything on the TV? It's like when someone some people are coming over and you put on a light music in the background. There are people coming over. Let's put on the Girls Gone Wild.
Yeah. And then down there in that basement, there is a door that leads to the outside. So it's like their back door.
Okay.
Candace says that it was pretty common for Summer to use that door to head outside to a nearby swing. So when Candace didn't find her and she ran outside looking for her, that would be the door that she went out.
Okay.
Even though she says that she did use that door to go outside to go to this swing, she also says that Summer never wandered off. So I guess she's just saying, like, she had a routine. She would go only to that swing. She would never go, like, further than that. She also says that she believes that at that time Summer would have been barefoot. At least she was when she saw her 2 to 3 minutes earlier. So she doesn't.
Are they in Appalachia?
Yes. Yes, they are.
Do you know what happened to that child? An Appalachian creature. Come to take.
So she just cannot fathom that Summer would have just fully, like, left on her own.
Mm-hmm.
Candace and Don believe that in that short time frame, someone abducted their daughter.
Okay.
We will get further into who
they say
abducted
that's what
their
they
daughter. Mm-hmm. Who they have some thoughts about who that is. And in response to those, you will also say, "What in the Tennessee?" So now
that's the house people think of when you like go out of town, like, where are you from? You're like, Tennessee, and like somebody who like outside of the South, that's exactly what they think your house looks like.
Yeah. Except maybe they couldn't have fathomed that you go into your basement under a desk. Yeah.
It's like giving like in The Handmaid's Tale when she's hiding out in that like abandoned office building.
Yeah. Yeah. They're like, "Do you see all these Paw Patrol toys in the corner?" And you're like, no, I literally don't.
I don't.
They're like, "Look how much stuff Summer had. Jeez, she was a hoarder."
Beloved. Yeah.
So now we're going to work through the timelines that we have been given for June 15th, 2021, because that's all we can work off of. I do fundamentally believe that the police had more than this. So, but this is what we have, because the police haven't shared what they have.
Okay.
Candace says that she woke Summer up earlier than usual that day so that they could head into Kingsport, big city, to take Grandma to the hospital for some knee pain. She remembers that they needed to be at their appointment by 8 a.m., so they needed to leave their house by 7:30. Don Wells said that he woke up around 7 to go to work, and when he woke up, Summer was in bed between him and Candace, and he looked at her for the last time. Also makes sense that they talk a little about how they were having trouble getting her to sleep in her own bed, but it's like that basement is basically just one big room. So if I was my parents' bed was right next to me, I'd be sneaking into it too.
Yeah.
So a 15-year-old family friend named Hunter Mullaney recalls that day Candace texted him saying that she and Summer were near his house while they were waiting for Grandma to get done at the hospital. Hunter told them to come over for a bit, but Candace said, "You should check with your mom first." His mother, Allison, said that it would be fine, so Candace and Summer arrived sometime between 10 and 11 a.m. Conflicting reports. While Summer, Candace, and Grandma were out that day, Candace says that her 3 boys were at home alone. But Hunter says that Candace told him they were at work with Don Wells. Pretty sure Don Wells does some like pretty manual, somewhat like dangerous labor, so I don't know why they would be with him.
Yeah.
Candace was planning to take Summer fishing, so she invited Hunter to come along. He again asked his mom, and she agreed so long as he wasn't gone for a long time. The connection between the Mullaney and Wells families started with Candace and Allison. They were friends for about 1.5 years before they had a bit of a falling out. Hunter's grandmother actually met Candace first, and her impression was that she was dirty and poor, and she borrowed money a lot.
Oh.
Eventually, Allison started to feel like Candace was using her.
Mm-hmm.
In fact, they had not spoken for quite a while until Candace came over to see Hunter that day. I guess I wonder, like, why was Allison like, "Yes, come hang out with my 15-year-old son, even though I think that you're a user."
Right.
and we are not friends. Even Allison's friends had some thoughts on Candace Bly. Leslie recalls being at a pool party with Allison and meeting Candace and her children. She saw the Wells boys playing in a pool. I believe it was just like a small inflatable pool. So when she says pool party, just like a neighborhood kiddie pool situation. Pool party. Candace says that before I'm skipping ahead. My bad. Leslie says that they were just being energetic boys. They were playing a little rough, but whatever. And Candace went over to them, took them in the back of the house to scold them. And Leslie saw Candace make the two young boys, soaking wet in their bathing suits, lay down, stomach down on a hot blacktop as their punishment. Leslie says this stuck with her.
Yeah.
And like even in this interview where she's talking about it, like she kind of sounds like she's about to cry. She says she walked over, picked up the pool, dumped it out, and said, "Everyone leave." So, okay, Leslie. Now, back to the day of June 15th. No one seems to remember what times anything happened, at least based on the reports from the people involved, or mostly just Candace and Hunter are the ones giving us reports. They also cannot seem to agree on what Summer was wearing at any given time. Candace says that before Summer, and Grandma left the house that morning, she put Summer's bathing suit on her. She said that Summer gets hot throughout the day, so she would just be more comfortable in her bathing suit. Hunter, though, says that he remembers that when Candace got to his house and they were getting ready to go fishing, that she put Summer's bathing suit on there, meaning that she did not already have it on. And then he says she put shorts and a tank top back over the bathing suit, and then they headed out to go fishing. A few hours after being dropped off at the hospital, Grandma called and was ready to be picked up. It is unclear what time, but the few hours thing causes people to question if Candace really did need to get her there for an 8 o'clock appointment, or if they took her to the ER, which would make more sense why it would take a little while if she was in the ER. But if she was there for an 8 o'clock appointment and didn't call her till like 11, that's crazy. Unless she's like getting surgery right then and there. Doubtful. They all stopped at Walgreens to drop off Grandma's prescription, where Hunter says they were given an estimated wait time of 30 to 35 minutes. While they were waiting, Hunter says that Candace received a call from Don Wells saying that he just found out that there was a man who had been lurking on their property watching Summer for the past week or so. This man's name was Andy or Anthony or Andrew or something like that. Don Wells says that, yes, he did call Candace while she was waiting for Grandma's prescription, but he was just asking if he should come home from work early. When he heard that they were still out running errands, he decided, I'll just stay at work because no one's even going to be at the house. Except who? Who's at the house?
A 5-year-old?
Your 3 sons. But okay, cool. He's like, no one will be there that can entertain me.
Right. None of my friends.
Yeah, I don't even like them kids.
Yeah, no peers.
Yeah. Hunter says that after leaving the pharmacy, they went to get cigarettes at a discount tobacco store. They got a twisted tea, cigarettes, and 2 disposable vapes. Hunter describes sitting in the back seat of the truck with a box in the seat beside him. He says when he first got in, he had to move some boxes around to even make room, but this box he left in the seat behind the passenger. We're going to talk a lot about what's happening in that back seat and where things are at any given time. It may or may not matter to you, but it matters to the online sleuths.
If it matters to them, it matters to me.
Good. They all stopped at a swimming hole so that Summer could swim. So I guess we shifted from fishing. We're just going to swim now. I haven't heard that there were fishing poles in the back seat. That's interesting. In fact, Candace posted a TikTok video of Summer swimming that day with Hunter in the background, throwing up gang signs, splashing water on Summer. Casual.
Throwing up gang signs.
He is 15 in Rogersville, Tennessee, just kind of like doing some stuff with his hands. I don't think it's sus. This video was posted to TikTok at 12:21 p.m. Hunter says that they drank the twisted tea, shared the vapes, and watched TikToks while they sat there and Summer swam. Now, I'm going to pause here again to tell you a little more about Candace's relationship with this 15-year-old boy.
I don't like the way you're saying that.
One time, Hunter changed his relationship status on Facebook to in a relationship. And she commented, "What, with your hand?"
Ew.
And he replied, "Yeah, Rosie Palm and her 5 sisters."
Ew. Stop. I don't like it.
He then said, "Fuck you," to which she replied, "Nah, I don't do that with my homies."
He's not your homie.
He's a child.
How old is she?
She's 39 years old.
Ew.
Also, at the time of this relationship status change, Hunter's cover photo was a picture of him and Candace Bly. Weird. While they were at the back to the day. While they were at the swimming hole, Hunter described seeing Summer's head go below water, and he got worried about her, so he jumped in to save her. On the way home, Candace and Hunter both say that Summer was sitting on a pillow in the back seat of the truck because she was wet, and Grandma would not like her truck getting wet. Later, though, Candace would say that she had actually changed Summer before getting back in the truck into some brand new clothes that were in the back seat to be worn on Summer's first day of school. It's June, so she ain't go back to school till August. And you already just gonna use the outfit? Okay.
Yeah.
She says that she did this because she knew that if Summer was in her wet bathing suit with the windows down, she would complain of being cold. So earlier, Candace said she put Summer in her bathing suit because she is always hot. And now she's like, well, I have to put her in clothes because she will complain that she is cold. Again, 5-year-olds are fickle. That's not to say that she doesn't complain about both things from time to time. But just an interesting note here. Now, the gang, the Grandma, Candace, Hunter, Summer gang, stopped at the grocery store. Hunter says that Candace and Grandma both went inside for about an hour. Candace swears that she went inside alone and that she was only inside for 5 minutes. I promise, it was only 5 minutes. Hunter says that as they were riding back to his house, he and Summer were in the back seat with some milk jugs from the grocery trip. Allison, Hunter's mom, remembers going out to the car around 2:30 when Hunter got home and seeing Summer asleep in the middle seat. But Candace said that Allison did not come out at all and that at this point in the ride, Summer was not asleep. And then Hunter says that when, in the third story, Hunter says that when they got home, he put the milk jugs into the middle seat that he had been sitting in, and Summer was in the passenger seat. So how could Allison have seen her asleep in the middle seat if Hunter was in the middle seat and then put the milk jugs in the middle seat? Now, this is where people get interested in what's in the backseat of the car. Grandma took a short video from that ride home at Candace's request. Candace says that she looked back and saw Summer laying against the milk jugs with her arm up in the air. She thought Summer looked cute and funny with her arm up in the air, so she asked her mom to take a picture. Grandma, silly Grandma, accidentally took a video. But it shows Summer in the middle seat, leaning towards the passenger door over some milk gallons, asleep. In the video, you can hear Candace ask, "Is her arm still up?" And Grandma says, "Nope." Candace replies, "Oh, well, that's what I wanted the picture of." So she's like, well, this is silly. I didn't even need
Yeah.
this. Candace
Our
says
dogs do that all the time.
yeah, you're like, fuck you for
Yeah.
moving right when
As
I wanted
soon as
that
we
cute
get our
picture.
phones, they're like,
Haha. Candace says that this was taken at 3:09 p.m., which was 2 minutes before they got home. There's a pattern here.
Are they extreme couponers? Like, why do they have multiple milk jugs?
Yeah. Also, what is with Candace needing everything to be like instantaneous? It was only 2 minutes. It was only 5 minutes. I ain't never been in a store and actually only taken 5 minutes.
Yeah.
And somehow come out with like 4 milk jugs and like other stuff.
Right.
And well, I mean, I guess multiple at least because they have like 4 kids and then them too, but still.
Maybe it's like
a
a Nafis. Just
yeah,
not a lot of space to cover.
Yeah. Technically the 3:09 time frame, like we don't have confirmation on. That's what Candace says. But that's one of those things that, like, again, I assume the police can see what time it was taken on her phone.
Oh yeah.
But they have not told us anything. People have a lot of thoughts from this video. This is another thing that we can either put up in the YouTube video or you should absolutely Google. Summer is now in the middle seat, where Hunter says he was sitting and where he placed the milk jugs. So people find that weird. Is it likely that he just forgot where he was sitting? Yeah, maybe. People don't like that though. In the picture, Summer is wearing a full outfit, not her bathing suit, which could be why Candace's story changed to I put her in her clothes. And the biggest thing is that many online sleuths believe that in this picture, Summer Wells is already dead.
I did see that picture and I thought, like, is this like from her autopsy?
So people think that like her hands look weird. They think that I don't know, but I don't think that she looks like obviously dead in any way. Mm-hmm. She has color in her face, like she looks like she's not like blue.
Yeah.
People think that it's an uncomfortable sleeping position and that no one would fall asleep that way. I think that for adults, that's true. I think that 5-year-olds can fall asleep anywhere.
Especially in the car.
Yeah. I think like the points that I would give for that team is that yes, the milk jugs would be cold. So that might be a little uncomfortable to like be sleeping on something cold. And I think it is a little strange that her mom would change her into a full jacket and pants in Tennessee June.
Oh, yeah.
Even if she would get hot or get cold because she's wet with the windows down, which I don't really believe because it's Tennessee June.
Right.
It feels like maybe we wouldn't have gone to a full jacket and pant outfit. So I do find that weird. I don't really know what I think it means. Like, are they trying to cover wounds? Are they trying to cover that she is purple in some spots? I don't know. That indicates to me that she is dead. But it is weird, certainly.
Yeah.
So you have seen the picture then?
Yes.
Okay. Do you think she looks dead?
I mean, like I said, I thought at first like it was an autopsy picture. Before I like realized I actually
on milk.
Actually, what I thought was that it looked like the kind of picture that people like see of like someone who's been kidnapped and they're like, "Oh, I think that's who that is." But yeah, I mean, she's got her lips are very pink, her cheeks are very pink, like looking at it closely, she does not look dead.
Yeah. And I mean, she could be like very recently dead, I guess.
Yeah.
Like if we found out that she is, I wouldn't be like, no, I don't believe you.
Right.
But I just don't think it's like obvious.
Yeah.
So from the events of that day, Candace has a few rebuttals. She did not give Hunter any twisted tea. And she did not share a vape with him. She also says that Hunter's order of events were wrong, that they got the vapes before they went to Walgreens to drop off the prescription.
Mm-hmm.
I personally don't care. And she also says that she bought him a Mountain Dew. I guess this is her way to say, like, see, I wouldn't have shared the twisted tea with him because I got him his own thing.
Right. Duh.
Kind me.
We're imbeciles.
Yeah. When they finally got home, Candace says that her boys helped them unload the groceries. In the time between arriving back home around 3:15 and Summer going missing at 6:30, Candace says that they unloaded groceries, started some laundry, and transplanted a handful of succulents into new pots. That is not a lot of things for 3 hours.
Where are you storing those plants?
I don't know. Are they outside by Grandma's trailer, maybe?
It shouldn't be.
And like, yeah, not to be rude, but like, are they like making your house look nicer?
Right. Why do you have plants?
These 5 succulents are like really staging this whole house. I personally like don't really think it's weird. Like if you ask me what I did in a 3-hour time span,
Mm-hmm.
unloading groceries, starting laundry, and like doing another extra thing, like, yeah, of course I sat down in between. Of course I played on my phone in between. So I don't find that like inherently suspicious.
Yeah.
That they can't account for every single thing they did in that 3 hours.
Yeah.
However, like Candace seems so insistent on some things. This only took me 2 minutes. It only took me 5 minutes. But I don't know what I did with my 3 hours.
Yeah.
Like, is a little weird to me.
Yeah.
So around 6 o'clock in a 2 to 5 minute time span, Summer went missing. Around this same time, a neighbor heard Candace calling for Summer. Candace's 911 call was placed at 6:30 p.m. The 911 operators dispatched to law enforcement said that the caller indicated that the mom was returning from a walk and couldn't find her daughter. This is not at all what Candace says was happening. She was not on a walk. She was right behind Summer, 2 to 3 minutes. It is so confusing to me. This is like single-handedly the thing that makes me like, this ain't working for me.
Mm-hmm.
It is so confusing to me why she feels the need to say that Summer was only out of her sight for this short amount of time. Because I'm a good mother. I watched my daughter. What are you talking about? But your 3 boys who are 7, 9, and 12 have been home alone all day. So it's like, would it be that big of a problem if Summer was inside with the same boys who run the house during the day?
Yeah.
If they watched her for 20 minutes out of your sight? Or 10 minutes even? Like, would that be that crazy?
Right.
I also am going to venture to say something that maybe people will be like, that makes you a bad parent. But I'm not a parent, so I don't care. Do you actually think that after 2 minutes, when I walk in and my sons say like, oh, she went to the basement, do you think that most parents would immediately go down to the basement to check?
Right. Which
No.
is like in her room.
Her room. It's
Right.
like, sure, if she went into the unfinished basement that no one's supposed to be in, where
Right.
like there's murder weapons down there, I might. But like she went down to her bedroom to play with her toys. Like I can't imagine, maybe different when I was 5, but I can't imagine that if I was 5 years old and you and dad said to mom, she's in her room. Mom's
Right.
like, okay. She's not like, well, let me go make sure she's in
Right.
her room.
I don't believe you.
Again, maybe that changes if my bedroom has a door to the outside. Maybe that changes if I have to crawl through a dangerous crawl space to get to my bedroom.
Yeah.
But do we think Candace Bly is like the most overprotective,
Right.
eyes on the kids at all times kind of mother?
Yeah. We used to live in a cemetery.
And
we were allowed to play in it. So
yeah.
So like, yeah, I think that and like,
if
look,
the 12-year-old
maybe-
is old enough to watch the 7-year-old, why can't they watch the 5-year-old?
Maybe I'll do things different outside of Tennessee. But it's not, it doesn't seem that odd to me to be like, well, I came home and I said, where'd she go? And they said she's in her room.
And
I was like, I
continued
believed
with
them.
my day. And
I don't have any reason not to believe them.
It would even be a small window if she said like, I didn't go check immediately. I went and finished what I was doing, took 20 minutes, and then I thought, weird, I haven't heard her. Let me go down there now. That would still be a short window. 20 minutes is still like a short window for someone to just go missing on a property as private as this one.
Right.
But she's like, no, it was 2 to 3. It couldn't have been more than that.
Yeah. When my dogs get locked in a room by accident, it takes me a while to realize I haven't seen it.
Literally, Mom's cat was stuck in your room, she said, in one of her guest rooms all night last night.
Right.
And they didn't notice. That happens, friends. Maybe not with your kid all night, but like 2 to 5 minutes.
Yeah, you would notice your kid before the dogs, I'm sure. I hope.
People are like, Katie, do not have children.
Yeah, like Mary just admitted that if her child went missing, she wouldn't notice for a while.
Yeah.
No, but yeah, I think that and like maybe because like we were raised in a different time, but I certainly think that if our parents came home and said, "Where's Katie?" and I said she's in her room, they would not go look for you.
It's not
They
even
would be like, "Oh,
came
she's
home.
in her room."
Yeah, like she says she physically walked Summer into the house to play with her brothers, then walked away for 2 minutes. So you saw her get safely inside.
Right.
It's not even like you've been gone for hours. And then they say the only thing, and you have to think to yourself, what could she have done in 2 minutes? Probably just got down there. She probably hasn't even started playing yet. She literally just made her way down.
Toys.
Unless she went down to make sure there wasn't porn on the TV.
I also think that I don't think I think you feel free to disagree or cut this out, but I think if our parents hadn't seen you in a while and I had said you were in your room, I think they would text you before they would go look for me.
Maybe not when I was 5.
Yeah, not when you were 5, but
you good?
Yeah, where are you?
Yeah. I'm
sorry.
I just can't with the whole 2 to 5 minutes. And then does she think that going into the grocery for more than 5 minutes, even though she says that Grandma and Hunter were in the car with Summer, does that make you a bad mom? Like, what is with the 5 minutes thing?
Yeah. I think she sounds like someone who has been accused of being a bad mom probably before and is probably trying really hard to make it clear that she's not to blame.
Yeah.
Which is understandable.
In whatever way. Yeah.
But it's also it's okay if you believed she was in her room when you sent her into the house and they said she walked to her room.
Yeah. So back to that time when the neighbor heard Candace calling for Summer. The neighbor, Jody Sue, was outside earlier in that evening. She saw a car go up to the Wells home. She heard a truck door shutting. When she went back inside, she heard a scream. But this was about an hour and a half before Summer is said to have gone missing. Jody Sue and her son and her daughter all agree that they heard the scream. She went with her son outside, but they didn't hear or see anything else. And then around 6, when she went down to the end of her driveway to water flowers, is when she heard Candace yelling for Summer, and she ran over to help look. Police have said that this scream is not related. I don't know if
screaming then.
I don't know if they mean because we don't believe Jody Sue. It's unsubstantiated. We do not believe this actually happened. Or if they believe that the scream means something else. Or if they are just trying to throw us off.
Okay.
So interesting. Which Jody Sue may not be a truth teller. We don't know. We don't know her. One of the pieces of Don's timeline absolutely does not work with the rest of the story. So I told you earlier that he did agree that he called Candace while she was in the Walgreens drive-thru and asked if he should come home early. He says that was at 3:00. But Candace says they pulled in back home at 3:11. So, not possible. Donnie boy. Now, as you may know, or suspect at this point, a lot of people have a lot of thoughts about Candace Bly and Don Wells. Both of them were married before and have other children. Both of them have criminal records. Most of Candace's is from Wisconsin. Don has many drug-related burglary and assault charges. He says, though, that he found God while he was in prison, and he is a changed Christian man.
Sure, a lot of people find God, actually.
Yeah. Statistically, that's very possible.
So far it tracks.
Yeah. Don's oldest son, also Don Wells, was charged with 2 counts of rape and 2 counts of sodomy with a victim under the age of 12.
No.
When Don and Candace first met, or when they met, they very quickly got married and moved into his mother's property in Rogersville, where they still live now. Interestingly, they live there with Candace's mom. So,
are his parents still alive?
I'm guessing not.
They're like, oh, well, you can come.
Suspicious. Candace and Don had at least one encounter with police while living together, which led to a protective order. Police arrived after a domestic complaint to find Don behind the wheel of his car, drunk. He told police that he had a gun on him and that he had a felony in Utah. Just, hey, I have a gun and I am not supposed to. Candace filed for a protective order against Don, but would later dismiss her petition, saying that the things that she said in it were not true. Don faced charges of having a gun while under the influence. Candace said that what caused all this is that he got mad because he came in and found a man inside. This man was a friend of Allison's, Hunter's mom, and Allison asked her to let him stay there for a few days. So again, I assume this was like back when they were friends.
Mm-hmm.
But it sounds like perhaps it was mutually beneficial. Allison was having Candace let her friend stay there. So, just saying. Probably the most talked about and perhaps most relevant piece of information about Don Wells. Don's stepsisters have come forward and accused him of sexual abuse. His stepsister...
The dad?
Yeah.
Don? Okay.
Yes. Don Wells Sr.
Okay.
I guess. Jeannie called the TBI just after Summer went missing to tell them that Don Wells had started molesting her when she was 5 years old and he was 12. In a phone call with his other stepsister, Mary, he tells her that he was just a kid and Jeannie was an evil bitch.
Oh, at 5?
Mm-hmm. He said, just because we played games together as a kid, she didn't have no problem playing house. He says she needs to take blame for her part in all of this because she stuck her hands down my pants first. Specifically, he said that girls mature quicker in their evil ways. Plus, she had all...
Giving Ed Keen.
Yeah. Plus, she had already tried to hit on their dad. Just
at
like
5?
She would later come on to him at 5 or before.
What does hitting on your dad look like at 5? Because I feel like anything you do with your dad at 5, like if you think 5-year-olds can hit on other people, anything you're doing with your dad at 5, they're like, oh my God, she's obsessed with him.
Yeah, they're like reaching or like riding on his foot like kids do, and they're like, see, it's hitting on me.
Little kids be kissing their dads on the mouth, like.
You need to have the willpower to say
that's
when it should stop. Yeah.
Right.
Jeannie says that this went on until she herself was 12 and Don was 19. Mary reminded him on a phone call that he and his friends had once tied her down and sexually assaulted her when he and Mary were both around the same age. They were like 13 or 14. And he's like, yeah. So all of this he agrees happened. He just does not agree that there's a problem with it. He believes that he was taken advantage of because he was a child too. And he's just a boy. That's all.
I mean, like 12-year-olds like have to learn that from somewhere. So like anytime a child is sexually abusing another child, you have to ask like, how did they get to that point? But like it certainly wasn't because of the little girls.
Yeah. Another neighbor reported seeing a 1998 maroon Toyota Tacoma around that time that wasn't familiar, and it had white paint buckets in the bed. The parents are interested in finding out more about this truck, whether it is suspicious or whether they could simply be a witness to something. Other people are interested to know why Candace and Dawn would choose a photo of Summer in which she still had long blonde hair for her missing posters instead of one that was more updated with her shaved head. I think that's a good question, people.
Why? Because they were embarrassed.
Or they
that
said
they had shaved her head.
Don't find her, please. Police did bring in canines to search the area. And then on YouTube, Don takes us on what he calls the dog path, where his own dogs, like freaking 6 or more of them, just a bunch of strays, run through the woods that surround their house, and they run out to the road. He says this is the path that Summer was taken. The police haven't told us the path, but Don Wells has. About a month after Summer's disappearance, the Wells boys were removed from their home by the state. Don told reporters that he had started drinking when he heard the accusations people were making against him, and in some sort of alcohol-related incident, the state made the decision to remove the children for their safety.
He doesn't even remember what it was because he was so drunk.
Or he can't. I don't know, yeah. But he says that at the time he agreed with the decision. Now him and Candace would like their children back. Don Wells has also been public about his belief that Summer was abducted for the purpose of human trafficking.
I'm sure he has.
Insert my theory here. Do we think that it's possible that Don Wells and Candace Bly were trafficking Summer and something either went wrong or they outright sold her?
Well, I don't like that.
Okay, well, we'll get back to it in the theories. In October of 2021, Don Wells was arrested on a DUI charge. While awaiting trial, he and Candace went on the Dr. Phil show together. Body language experts have examined the interview and believed that they exhibited guilty language. They also thought that Candace was fading facts and showed some red flags. Someone asked them if there was any validity to the claims that the cornbread mafia could be involved.
The what?
This is a local, or at least local to the South, crime ring whose focus was selling marijuana in the area.
Is this like those boys that we went to high school with that used to spray paint SYB on everything?
Maybe. Probably. In response to this question, Candace ripped her microphone off and stormed off the stage. I'm going to play us a little clip from the Dr. Phil show, not of her storming off, but where Candace and Don talk about wanting their boys back. And this will just give you a little intro to them.
Their boys? Oh, because they got taken by the state.
Mm-hmm.
What about your girl?
They said, we don't know where Summer is, but we know where our boys are. They've been stolen from
me and Candace's life. You lose your daughter and then you get blamed for it and then everybody turns on you. We have threatening.
So there's no reason in terms of acts of violence that have been perpetrated against you that would cause them to conclude that the boys would be in harm's way.
We just had one issue with a woman sent to our house and we don't know. We've heard she was sent from some YouTubers. We don't know. Well, we called the police right away and they took her off the property.
If they did a home study right now, if they came in and studied the home, would it meet the standard that they were looking for? Would the house be clean and uncluttered and groceries and safe as far as guns and everything that Child Protective Services investigates? Would it be proper for the boys?
Well, there's some things they want us to work on. We need to put in a couple walls and some other things. So there's still a few things we need to work on.
But you could get that done in short order.
Yeah.
Okay. Well, let me tell you what I think. And I, like I say, I've done this a lot, and I trained as a forensic psychologist, looking psychology and the law and the forensics involved with human behavior and conduct. And based on the timeline and the factors here, it's very clear to me, based on the facts, that neither one of you did anything to hurt your daughter.
No, sir.
That's very clear to me.
Awesome.
So are you understand that I understand that? Yes. And you understand that?
I guess I should add here that Dr. Phil did just make an appearance at a Donald Trump rally.
Okay, Dr. Phil.
So his take on them as parents is not what we were there for.
No.
Just to kind of see them talk about, that is probably like the calmest you'll ever see those two people.
Because they got someone who has their back.
Mm-hmm. They're like, wait, Dr. Phil's on our side. So in February of 2022, Don Wells pled guilty to his DUI charge and was sent to prison until October 31st, 2022. Happy Halloween. Don Wells released several letters while he was in prison, some of which were addressed to Summer and some were addressed to her kidnappers. Before and after his incarceration, Don has been very active on social media and YouTube. He has theorized that his own stepsisters could have come and taken Summer for fear that he would molest her. To which I say, good job, Jeannie and Mary.
Yeah, love that for them.
Yeah, let's hope that that's exactly what happened. The police are like, we know exactly where Summer is. We just don't want to tell you.
When they gave them that like really inaccurate photo, they're like, yeah, we will absolutely put this out.
Yeah, of course. At times, obviously not that Dr. Phil interview, but at other times, he and Candace appear quite intoxicated in some of his videos. They're like throwing things and stuff. She's like yelling in the background. So that's great. Someone should keep him off the internet. Don.
Adolescents don't need to be online.
No. Another theory Don has talked about with Chris McDonough, is that how they said it? Is that the day before Summer went missing, he had fired a coworker. And the day of her disappearance, this coworker showed back up, seemingly high on meth, to confront Don. He says that this man definitely knew where he lived, but he also wanted, but he says, this man knows where I live, so y'all should keep an eye out for him. Also, though, he's my alibi. This man can vouch for where I was during the time of my daughter's disappearance.
The guy's like, no, I won't.
Because he was so mad at me and high on meth. Yeah, that guy's not vouching for you, even if he could. Later, though, Don would say that he had 7 alibis, including his vehicle's GPS system. And that Candace, she has none.
Are they still married?
Yep. Don also shared that Candace did test positive for alcohol and marijuana in her system when police arrived to look for Summer. So, first thought, 7 alibis? Are they all different? Because that comes out to 0. If you were at 7 different places, then you were at none of them. Cool. Also, Candace doesn't need an alibi. She literally said she was there.
Yeah.
2 minutes before she went missing. Interesting, I think, about the alcohol and marijuana use. These people, Candace has, drug related crimes in her record. Yeah. I think that it is known that they both, at least at some point, have used meth, had issues with meth. Mm-hmm. But even if it's just marijuana and alcohol, she could have lost track of time.
Yeah.
She could have lost track of 2 to 5 minutes.
Easily.
So, yeah. And, I just think that maybe isn't great parenting to be I got so high that I stopped paying attention to where my kid was. But yeah. I think that makes sense. And if that's true, then it feels a little more likely that something could have happened that the parents didn't do. Mm-hmm. They just aren't super attentive parents, Interestingly about the car GPS system, Don says that he normally drove his work truck to work, as you might suspect.
Right.
But he had just bought this Subaru for Candace, and he didn't feel like they were getting their money's worth out of it. So he decided that day that he would take the car that happened to have the GPS system. So that car did verify that he had been to work.
Mm-hmm.
Many people find this suspicious and, in fact, indicative of premeditation that Candace was left all day with Summer in an untraceable vehicle, while Don had one that offered him an alibi. Now,
Is an interesting point.
No arrests have been made in this case. The police still say that there are no signs of abduction, but they also have not indicated whether the parents are or are not people of interest. I would kind of think if they are not, they would have said, okay, internet, leave them alone.
Yeah.
Hold them out. On June 14th, 2023, the TBI released an age-progressed photo of Summer, who would have been 7 at that time. Her Amber Alert still remains active today, and her brothers are still in the custody of the state of Tennessee.
I think you can even still see her like on billboards.
Yeah.
Like, across the state.
Yeah. Now, let's consider our theories here. If you have any that I didn't do, you have a specific theory, you tell me, okay? So, Summer could have wandered off.
Sure.
It's a little hard to believe that a barefoot 5-year-old would make it far in the woods, but if you
in
consider
2 minutes,
if you consider that it is probably a much larger time frame than Candace has let us think it is, then it is possible that that's exactly what happened. I've also heard people say that if she was being abused by her father or her family at all,
maybe she
could
did
be
run off.
or by her 12-year-old brother, question mark, then she might have run off.
Yeah.
That's possible. In addition to this, people think that she could have run off and been attacked by animals. I think in order for her body not to be found nearby, she would have had to make it quite a far distance before she got attacked by animals. Or else, like, her body would be in the family's woods. Some people believe that she died in the car on the way home, or maybe even at the swimming hole. And that the time period between them arriving home and calling 911 was Candace doing something with Summer's body. People have said that when Hunter saw her head go underwater, there's a thing called dry drowning, where that can happen after the fact. So people think that could have happened once they got back in the car. An argument against that theory is that cadaver dogs were brought in and they didn't hit on the Wells vehicle or anywhere in the home. Similar to that theory, an accident could have just happened when they got back to the house between 3 and 6, or a not accident. Something could have been done to her really any time during the day. Her body would still have to be disposed of, but I mean, depending on how quickly that happened, maybe cadaver dogs wouldn't hit, or if she wasn't actually taken in the car after her death. Some people also think that Don's insistence that she had been trafficked could actually indicate that he and Candace were trafficking her. It is far more common that this is happening within a community by a family member than some stranger just showing up in your backyard at the absolute perfect time. So, like, could they have been, is that why they had an untraceable vehicle? Because they were actually taking Summer to make a transaction. It could have been just an hour or a night, but something went wrong, or they could have decided to sell her outright at this point.
Yeah.
That is where she is, as there's no sign of her. Or, of course, it could have been the Cornbread Mafia. Although they normally stick to just
There's nothing about that I could take seriously. I'm so sorry.
Although they normally stick to just selling weed, it is entirely believable that they would just decide to upgrade to child abduction one day. They're just feeling a little crazy.
It's like the natural progression.
They said
like when serial killers go from like rape to like kidnap to like murder and then serial killing. It's like selling weed, trafficking a 5-year-old.
Yeah. And they said, listen, weed's becoming far too available. It's encroaching on our market. We have got to change strategies here. We're just going to start taking children. Same thing, really. Instead of moving on to like selling coke, we're going to traffic children.
The thing is that people who sell weed are like so chill. Like they're not taking kids.
No, no, they are not. So anyway, what do you think? What do you subscribe to?
I've always thought that her parents are guilty of something, but I've never really thought about like exactly what they did. But I definitely think it's like plausible that her dad was like abusing her or the boys or all of them. And I would believe that her mom would cover that up.
Yeah.
But yeah, I mean, it's like I remember when she was like first abducted because like I got like
or
my
missing.
Yeah. Because my phone was like screaming at me. That like Amber Alert thing it does. And then that whole summer there were like billboards up even in Memphis of like this like little girl that was missing, and they kept like thinking like that they had found like her body, and like they were just like people were constantly talking about it and like just like not knowing what was going on, but people would say like, oh, like I think they may have found her, and then they didn't, and like, oh, I think they may have found a body, and they didn't. And then people started saying that they think like her parents were like really suspicious, like that they gave like Casey Anthony vibes. And then it like stopped being big in West Tennessee, where I live. I live in West Tennessee. Where do I live? I don't know. It stopped being something that was talked about in West Tennessee, but I think it is something that's still talked about in Middle to East Tennessee because that's where she's from. But yeah. And I remember Morbid talked about it when it first happened, and they said that her parents were being really weird too.
Yeah. I think that there is a lot that like the police know that we don't, so like there's stuff that could change my opinion from there. I also think as these boys get older, we might hear stuff from them.
Yeah.
So there's that, not really to like look forward to, but like as an option. They maybe have already been like interviewed by police, and police could have that information.
Yeah.
I think that there are so many signs in this that point to premeditation to me. Like the GPS. I know Candace was on TikTok a lot, but like just taking a video of the swimming, inviting Hunter, like is it all just a way to like have witnesses, have proof, like have sort of a timeline for the day? They went, they had a reason to be up that early, all this stuff. But then it's also like maybe that just brings another person to like discredit you, so maybe that is silly. I don't know. I feel like though I find it, people say all the time there's no way these parents could fool investigators. Like they're so stupid. Like there's no way that they're doing that. And I don't know that they have. Like it's only been 3 years. Police have not released what they have. Like they may not be getting away with anything. Or the reason they're getting away with it is because maybe they didn't kill her. Maybe they did like give her away. And so in that case, there wouldn't be a body, there wouldn't be blood to hide, there would be like less traceable stuff. So I don't know. I don't know what I think. There is a possibility where you could tell me Candace is just neglectful and she did just run away. At the very least, she was out of her sight for more than 2 to 5 minutes.
Yeah.
Of course. That's
She's
for sure.
lying about something.
That's for sure. But like, I do still think it's like hard for me to believe that fully like they are innocent. All they did was not watch her, and then she ran off, and we haven't found any trace of her. Like, I just think we would have by now.
Yeah. Here's my thing. I always feel when someone like disappears out of thin air, and like there's, especially like a child, like there's never a body found or anything.
It's not like she's right on the road, could just get in a car.
Yeah, I always feel like that really lends itself to like the family having something to do with it, because if they know where she is, they're not going to be pushing as hard as some other families to like search for her and find her, or like they're not going to want searches happening where she is. And I just think that like, unfortunately, like having the family be able to be a part of those searches helps to keep them from finding her if they know where she is.
That's true.
And I think we see that in like a lot of cases, that like if family knows where they are, like they're not gonna ask you to search there or like near there.
Don Wells has said some things that are like, police are wasting their time still searching on our property. She got taken off our property. We know that her scent went out to the road, and then someone must have driven her away. And it's like, that's a little, I mean, that's fine that you believe that, but it could be him just being like, get off our property, please stop looking here. But again, they have looked there, so I do just, unless they just missed her, or Don and Candace are great at hiding bodies. But yeah, them is sus.
Yeah,
that's for sure. I don't think they have like pulled one over on police yet. Police probably just need more. But yeah, that's my case.